Sonic Prime recently released, and ended up being a fun series focusing on a multiverse with plenty of unique worlds to explore. And fortunately, Sonic Prime is already confirmed to have 2 more seasons or quote-unquote parts in the works, which has sparked a lot of predictions. Today we'll be discussing some of the most interesting theories and what we think about them. I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and these are Sonic Prime Season 2 predictions we love and hate. And just a heads up, spoilers for Season 1 ahead. So let's get down to business and jump right into fan predictions. The first prediction on our list is more Shadowverses, with the premise of the show revolving around these many Shadowverses that Sonic is forced to go through and hopes to go home. It makes sense for more to pop up. While we can't say for sure what they could be just yet, we do think that the only issue we had with Season 1 was that they didn't explore the concept enough, only visiting 3 distinct universes over 8 episodes. With 8 episodes coming in Season 2, it would make sense for them to do more of these unknown timelines.
Alright, monster, show yourself!
Without getting into specifics, it would be a wasted opportunity to not explore as many Shadowverses as possible. So we absolutely love this idea, and would be a bit disappointed if it were not implemented. The next prediction is the Chaos Council are aliens. The Chaos Council are the 5 versions of Eggman who rule over New York City, and are the main villains of the first season. In the final few episodes of Sonic Prime, they're trying to obtain the shard and eventually find out about the Shadowverse.
Imagine what we could do with 2 shards!
When 9 comes back to help fight against them, they call upon their mothership, and all of a sudden it seems like there's more of them than we realize, especially since one of them mentions going home, and this raises a lot of questions. Now, let's make something very clear. In most forms of media, Robotnik/Eggman is usually depicted as a human and is typically from Earth. Most of the time, Sonic and the rest of his friends are actually the aliens and landing on Earth themselves. This is the case for the Sonic films and seemingly the case for Sonic X. However, in a lot of Sonic media, Robotnik also seems to be from planet Mobius to some degree. So we're saying it is possible that in this timeline, his home may have been Earth. If this happens to be the case, it opens up plenty of unique avenues to take these characters. And we'll say we have mixed feelings on the idea, because while this can open interesting avenues, it feels weird to think of Eggman as an alien. The next prediction is that Tails 9 will become a villain. 9 is the New York City version of Tails and was raised all alone by the hatred caused in the city. Sonic meets him early on in New York, and while he's wary of the Hedgehog, he eventually becomes friendly. That said, during the raid on the Chaos Council, 9 steals the shard of the Paradox Prism and creates his plane, which allows him to travel throughout the Shadowverse.
I'm one of the good guys.
He is later beaten and kidnapped by the Chaos Council, where they try to force 9 to give them everything about the Shatter vehicle and how to travel the Shadowverse. 9 seems like he wouldn't give over this information, but what little we see of him in the later episodes point to that being a possibility. He seems to have given up on friendship thanks to Sonic seemingly abandoning him in his time of need. 9's background and general demeanor seems like he would slip pretty easily into villainy if the right circumstances came around, and it would make him feel distinct from the original Tails because of this arc. That said, we have to say we hate this idea, because we don't like the idea that this version of Tails would shift to the dark side so easily, especially after being so recently shown the light. The next prediction on our list is Supersonic. In the Sonic franchise, once Sonic obtains all 7 Chaos Emeralds, he can absorb their powers and grow very strong. This new enhanced form gives him golden spiked up hair and red eyes, giving him 9 invulnerability and a massive speed and power boost. Supersonic pops up in most forms of media since its appearance in Sonic 2. It appeared in the second Sonic movie and most of the games, and would make sense for it to pop up in a show like Sonic Prime. We know that the Chaos Emeralds still exist in this universe, because Shadow obtains one prior to the Shadowverse forming.
There you are.
Plus, based on the name of the Chaos Council, one could assume they may be aware of the Chaos Emeralds as well. In fact, one may be able to assume that each universe may have its own version of the Chaos Emeralds, and he may be able to obtain more than 7. Supersonic is usually saved for the last moment, pulled out to stop the final threat like in Sonic Heroes. So it would make sense for him to appear, and we love that possibility, because Supersonic is always hyped to see in anything he appears in. Next up, let's talk about more alternate versions of Eggman. Eggman is the main antagonist of the franchise and even serves as the villain that Sonic faces throughout New York City. However, in 2 of the 3 universes that Sonic goes through in the show, Eggman is nowhere to be found, with the villain being someone else. So it would make sense that we would see more versions of Eggman in the show, and it's a surprise he didn't pop up in either the Caveman or Pirate universes. Sure, New York focuses on the obvious universe Eggman would be part of, but it's a bit disappointing to not see more versions of the rotund villain. Sure, we can't say what he would be or why he would pop up, but with the show focusing on alternate universes, it would be weird for him not to pop up some more. So we have to say we love this idea of seeing more versions of Eggman, especially since the voice actor absolutely kills it.
Thank you for the earthquake, Sonic.
In a similar vein, another prediction we might see come true is an alternate version of Sonic in Season 2. Sonic, being the main character of the show, obviously has a lot of focus on him, and makes sense that we haven't seen one of his alternate versions yet. However, in Situation Grim, Sonic does imply he may believe there are alternate versions of himself in the Shatterverses, because he tells Nine to look out for them. Sure, when the Paradox Prism broke, we only saw Rouge, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy supposedly get split, but we know that both Eggman and Big also appear in alternate timelines. The only character who hasn't appeared in another universe besides Sonic is Shadow, and that's because he's stuck in between Shatterverses like Sonic.
Hate to hit and run, but I got a split, Shadow.
Sure, we realize that the reason behind no alternate versions of Sonic popping up may be to not confuse audiences, but it would be an interesting scenario to see Sonic interact with another version of himself. So we'd love for this to happen, but we do realize that this may be a bit far-fetched. Maybe a bit of a weird prediction, but next are evil or villainous versions of Rouge the Bat or Big the Cat. In the show, we see a few sort of villainous versions of Sonic's friends, the big one being Thorn Rose in the Primitive World. Thorn was already sort of villainous, but after obtaining the shard, she does get even worse, trying to kill the scavengers and blocking out sunlight to the underbrush.
With the heart of the jungle, I have the power to...
In the pirate world, Knuckles the Dread also falls into this category because he puts the life of his crew on the line in order to obtain the Devil's Lighthouse. Plus, if our previous prediction of Nine becoming evil comes true, that really only leaves 2 other mainstay cast members becoming evil. Rouge the Bat, who is usually an anti-hero, doesn't always come off as evil, but in the past does take up that role on occasion. Look at Team Dark in Sonic Heroes. In fact, Rouge being a cat burglar and jewel thief has been sort of phased out for the most part, though it would make sense to adapt this character into another universe. Big, on the other hand, is an absolute sweetheart with a few anger problems here and there, and at the very least it would be funny to see an evil version of him. So while it would make sense, we don't necessarily expect this to happen, but we do love the idea, forcing Sonic to face evil versions of every one of his main friend group at least once. Speaking of Sonic's friend group, the next prediction we'll go over is Silver, Blaze, Metal Sonic, or other game characters appearing in the show. The Sonic franchise is known well for a massive cast, and we've only selected a few to talk about, ever since it was revealed that Sonic Prime is officially canon to the lore of the games. This opens up a rabbit hole of potential characters to pop up, whether it's loved characters like Silver, Blaze, and Metal, as we mentioned, or lesser known or hated ones like Mephiles. These characters could allow for very interesting plots in these alternate universes. In fact, some characters in New York City mirror a couple characters in the main series. Rusty Rose could be seen as a replacement for Metal Sonic, but it wouldn't surprise us if the Chaos Council created a version of Metal Sonic themselves. With so many interesting characters in the games to draw from, it's quite likely we may see more mainstay characters, considering Sega themselves sent over character models to the creators of Sonic Prime.
Act natural.
Though with the likelihood that they don't want to overinflate the show with too much of a cast, we'd still love to see this happen regardless. In a very similar vein, characters like Sally Acorn, Sonia, and Manic popping up is another prediction. One thing about Sonic's history is that its TV shows introduced us to a lot of unique characters that never pop up again anywhere else. Of the ones we brought up, the one most people recognize and want to appear is Sally Acorn, a character from the original Archie comics and the old cartoons. With the fact that this show is canon to the video games, this could finally be the time to introduce a character like her into the main timeline. With the previous prediction that the Chaos Council are aliens, it would make sense for the planet Mobius to have one of its rulers, Sally, pop up.
Well, do I look like a SWAT bot?
As for the other two, Sonia and Manic only really appear in one show, Sonic Underground, a forgotten cartoon with one of the best theme songs ever. These two are actually the twin siblings to Sonic, as the three are triplets in that timeline. What really allows for them to appear is the fact that the show focuses on alternate universes, so having characters like Sonia, Sally, and Manic popping up would be great references for the fans and wouldn't affect the main timeline all too much. Sure, it's very, very unlikely, but we would love to see this happen. The next prediction is similar to the last two, which is Scourge the Hedgehog. Scourge the Hedgehog is an evil alternate universe version of Sonic from the comics, and as such became very popular for quite a while. It would make sense for a character like this to pop up in a show about alternate universes. That's undoubtable. However, we find it unlikely. Scourge is an interesting case because of the owner and how Sega handles comics, so it's really unlikely. That said, it is possible for a Scourge-esque character to pop up without being the Green Hedgehog himself. New York City does provide a pretty nice background for a character like this to exist. And it would be interesting to see that Sonic does exist in these universes even if it's not our Sonic.
Okay, actually cool.
That said, we have to say we hate this idea of bringing a character like Scourge into the mix, who's relatively one note and sort of boring most of the time, and with the licensing issues, it wouldn't even be worth it. The final prediction we'll talk about is a bit of a jokey one, being Irish the Hedgehog. Irish was a joke character posted on Twitter for St. Patrick's Day, voiced by YouTuber Jacksepticeye. The reason why we bring this potential theory up is because Jacksepticeye actively voices a character named Jack in the show already, so they already have him as a potential voice actor for this character. Sure, it would be little more than a gag or a joke, but it would be pretty funny. Plus, Irish is surprisingly popular in the fanbase for what he is, a fun joke and a sort of dig at Sonic fan characters. But we have mixed feelings on it because on the one hand, it would be a bit dumb and sort of out of place, but on the other, it would be pretty funny. But let us know in the comment section which predictions you think will come true and which ones you like. And be sure to hit that notification bell so you can binge our other Sonic Prime videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.